Ladies, gentlemen, finesses, we're back. You know what time it is. You know what time of the year it is. It's the best time of the year. 'Tis the season to be finessey, baby. All right, let's jump right in. We've got quite a few things we need to look into. I've got to temper my voice just a little bit as my daughter is trying to sleep. But if things happen that allow my blood pressure to go up, I have no choice but to get emotional and raw and loud. And yeah, so anyway, we're gonna dive right in. First off, draft's over. I think everybody had a decent draft, some better than others. But that's needless to say. The draft is not won. You cannot win the league off your draft. You can not lose your league off your draft. You have to groom, you have to love, you have to nurture your players. No Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein on grooming people who have no control of the situation. You have to, you can't just draft and then, I'm going to set it and forget it. No, Clay. A dead clock's right twice a day. That's all I got to say about that. So yeah, let's see what we got here. We're going to go over each team's strength and weakness first off. That'd be something fun to do. We'll start with my own. Okay, weaknesses are done. Oh, good Lord have mercy. Okay, no, the weaknesses on my team is the ACLs. I have Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. If their ACLs can hold together, then we're in good shape. If not, so I would say, health is probably my main weakness. I like my flexes. Tight end's not great. Zach Ertz, his relevance left the chat many years ago. So I would say health and tight end is probably my main weakness. Gary's main weakness is just not being any good. That's just the reality of it. He's just really bad at this. I would say, he's got a solid core with Russ, Najee Harris, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, blah, 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 blah. His OP, his second quarterback spot is laughable. I was physically ill, nauseous, sick to my stomach when I saw it. Matt Jones, does anyone have any Pepto-Bismol because I'm feeling sick to my stomach? So Gary's team is laughable at best. We'll go down to Alex. He's got a solid core with Justin Herbert, Dalvin Cook, and Nick Chubb. His tight end is laughable, and his flex is decent, and his OP is also somewhat laughable. Trevor Lawrence has some toys, but Trevor Lawrence doesn't get to play the ACC every week in the NFL, so he's not going to look like an absolute stud. So his bench is decent. He's got Michael Thomas and Justin Fields. I like that. Let me hold Justin Fields on the low. But yeah, I would say mainly OP and tight end, I'd say maybe. Cheese. Oh, good grief. Cheese reached for his quarterback one, which was Derek Carr, which is kind of weird. But he's an AFC West quarterback who's going to be in shootouts all the time. His other quarterback is Kirk Cousins, who has a bunch of toys as well. I like it. Cheese doesn't have too many weaknesses. He's got two lower tier quarterbacks, but he's got a flex with Chase Edmonds, who he's kind of one of my guys this year. I think he's going to do well, and his three chances at having the RB1 for the 95th straight year is Derrick Henry, James Conner, and Chase Edmonds. So we'll see which one of those does it. I'm not a fan of Deontay Johnson, and his bench kind of falls off just a little bit, except Kadarius Toney. I'm kind of a fan of Kadarius Toney, but I would say his quarterbacks are his main Achilles heel, and Deontay Johnson not having anyone to throw him the football. Oh boy. Okay, Skeet. Skeet's team looks incredibly different now than it did, you know, a week and a half ago. Everybody's already given Skeet, you know, the keys to the city. They've already given him stuff with basically nothing in return. No America on giving foreign countries stuff with nothing in return. Yeah, it's just his quarterback situation is absurd. He drafted Lamar and Josh Allen with his first and second pick, and then was able to rob Alex at gunpoint for Justin Jefferson. And then he was able to upgrade a tight end, which he got late in the draft. So now he's got George Kittle. By far his main weakness is his running backs. Miles Sanders being running back 2 makes me legitimately nauseous, sick to my stomach. It's grotesque. It's grotesque. He shouldn't be allowed to step foot in the gates of heaven with such a disgusting situation at his running back. And he's got DeAndre Hopkins on the bench, suspended, mind you. Wow, he's bad. Jalen Waddle, not a fan. But I mean, his wide receivers are absolutely absurd. And he did trade for Adam Thielen, which is weird because he's got Justin Jefferson, so you got to bench one of them. Not going to bench Justin Jefferson, so it kind of seems pointless to trade for Adam Thielen. So knowledge of fantasy football. We'll go to Zach. We'll go to relevant Zach. His team, he's good at quarterback, Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. Not for long because Jalen Hurts will be on my team very soon. His wide receiver situation hurts my spleen. It's very painful to look at. It's DK Metcalf and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I've literally taken, you know, I've had diarrhea with more talent than those two guys. And it looks like he'll have Dalton Schultz in his tight end spot when it's all said and done with Skeet. But he's got Joe Mixon and DeAndre Swift. But again, I think wide receiver is definitely his weakness, but he'll look to defend his championship from last year, which was all about a spoon feeding. Matt's team, Matt's core would be Austin Eckler, Leonard Fournette, and Stephon Diggs. Taking a flyer on Juju as his wide receiver 2. He could go off, no Calder. Carson Wentz as his OP is disgusting. It makes me legitimately sick to my stomach. Definitely his main weakness would be his OP, just like Alex's was. And Gary's. And Evan, we've got Evan, who let's see his team real quick. Let's see. Okay, we've got 2 decent quarterbacks, but nothing that is going to light the world on fire. We have Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford. His core being Jonathan Taylor, Javonte Williams, and Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, I'm going to tell you, with Isaiah Likely coming in, you're likely to not like the situation out there. But overall, he's got a pretty good team. Antonio Gibson, it makes me nauseous. But Christian Kirk on the bench, it's repulsive. I'd say if he had any real weaknesses, it's probably his quarterbacks. But they both have safe floors, I think. So let's see here. All right, and then Clay. Clay has Tom Brady and Tua. Disgusting. I'm actually nauseous at the fact that Tua is rostered. Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a wide receiver, as a running back 2. Disgusting, absolutely disgusting. He does have Matt Ryan, whom I would replace with Tua right now, the second this video is dropped. I get no glaring weaknesses outside of maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny, he's, you know, the dude's just simply not healthy. He's just more importantly, he's just not that good at football. So yeah, let's see what else we've got. Let's see. And the last team would be Zach Calder. This shouldn't take long to go through his strengths. I would say his just glaring weakness is Ryan Tannehill at OP, and then Damian Harris as his first flex. It's just disgusting. Elijah Mitchell is just repulsive. He's not going to replicate what he did last year because Cheese doesn't have him anymore. That's just the reality of the situation. But overall, everybody drafted decent. Yeah, we've got people trading already. No me. And I guess it's just, I mean, you draft poorly and then you try to get a bat. You try to go trade for people because you're not good. And I don't know. You're drafting poorly and then blaming other people. It's kind of like Brittany Griner, like, you know, taking weed to a foreign country whom we don't have great relationships with anyway, and then getting arrested for it. It's like, ooh, I did this, but now I'm the victim. You can't draft bad and then act like the victim. You've just got it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Moving on. I can't do this right now. I'll literally get an aneurysm. First week we have Andrew and Gary playing each other. There's nothing more to say about it. I don't expect this to be a challenge. Gary has been the speed bump in my success, except the speed bump is, you know, I don't have to slow down. It's just running over him and moving on. We got Russell Wilson versus Patrick Mahomes and Najee Harris versus Christian McCaffrey. I think I got the advantage at both, so moving on. Galt and Evan, both are awful, again. We've got Jonathan Taylor versus Austin Eckler, Dak versus Aaron Rodgers. The projected is just not even close. Evans got him by like 13, largely in part due to the fact that Jonathan Taylor's projected 20 points. So that's absolutely ridiculous. It's not going to happen. He's not on Cheez-It team this year. I would very much so temper expectations regarding him, Evan. So, and let's see here. Gary and Andrew, and as far as me goes, it's nothing personal to you guys. I don't want to hurt you guys' feelings. I'm just gonna steamroll through this league. I plan on locking up every person that I have to play. No Raiders and Saints on getting locked up. I just don't think. I'm just too talented. So anyway, we've got Cheese and Clay, two people who check their phone about as much as Joe Biden checks the gas prices, because I mean, it's just these guys, they just draft teams, sit there, whatever happens. It's 115 to 109 projected in Clay's way. Both are really bad. And, you know, I stand corrected. It's actually Cheese and Scoggins. Scoggins is projected to win, and then it's Alex and Clay. So Alex and Clay, two guys who are just not great. Simple as that. Alex, his three highest projected players are Herbert, Lawrence, and then Justin Fields. Every other person has at least one person that's not a quarterback projected to the highest. So he really gonna have to make sure he gets some help from the other areas. Clay's gonna have Tua and Brady at the helm. And then the last one we have Skeet and Calder, two of the trading fiends. Projecteds are close. Nothing really more to say about it. Both are terrible. Skeet has just majorly finessed the entire league already, and we honestly should be ashamed of ourselves. So let's see. We have let's go through. I've conjured up a list of players that I think are going to be really good. At the running back position, I think Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Swift are going to go absolutely nuclear. DeAndre Swift was like tight running back 5 last year before his AC joint left the chat. No cheese on that. And Saquon Barkley has the most talented, by far and away, the most talented offensive line he's ever had, with check down Daniel Jones at the helm. They never addressed running back situation. And the only other target is Kadarius Toney, who's a felon. And he's just not going to, I mean, who else is going to command targets? Kenny Galladay? Like, come on, stop it. So my guys for running back this year will be Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Swift. At the quarterback position, I think Jalen Hurts is going to go nuclear. I'm just going to leave it at that. I really do. We have at the wide receiver position, I think Cortland Sutton is going to be the DK Metcalf for Russell Wilson, and I think he's going to go nuclear. I like Michael Pittman this year. I like him a lot. He's on my team, and I really think he'll have a successful year. And If Chris Godwin can come back, that's a real value for Galt. I think T. Higgins is going to do well. The main two that I think are going to really, or three that I think is going to pay off. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to pay off. I think Cortland Sutton's going to pay off, and I think Michael Pittman's going to do well. At tight end, there's only a handful of tight ends, but I'll do one high tier tight end I think is going to do well, and one late tier. The late tier is either David Njoku or Irv Smith. Irv Smith is going to be like the number 2 or 3 target with a team that's going to be in a bunch of shootouts. I think he's going to do well, and I think Kyle Pitts is absolutely going to crush it this year for Cheese. Let me hold him on the lowest. And that's about it for the players. And I would like to go through the worst NFL coaches because this is just something that really gets my blood moving. Oh, God. Okay, so you typically you don't want to avoid players with these coaches, but good Lord, man, they're just so bad at what they do. You want to not be surprised when things happen, right? So like when Mike Zimmer was the coach of the Vikings, it's like, oh well, Dalvin Cook's on the 1. What are you going to do with 1st and goal? Let's do a fade route to Adam Thielen. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I learned to temper my expectations. And I think Dalvin Cook's also going to go crazy this year. But it's just stuff like that. This is in no particular order, but these are the 5 worst coaches in the NFL. 1, Lovie Smith. Wow, he's bad. There's nothing more to say about it. There's nothing more to say. He's just not good at what he does. How he has a job is just shocking to me. He does less work at his job than Cheese does at his. It's shocking that he still has a career, and he ought to be ashamed of himself for the things that he's done in the last few years. Number 2, Brandon Staley. You have all these toys. No Dan Campbell. You have all these toys, and you didn't make. Wow, you're bad. I'm pretty sure they didn't make the playoffs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was all you have to do is tie and you go to the playoffs. And he calls a timeout when he could have just let the clock run down. I don't get it. I just don't get it. You just have all this talent. You have an elite quarterback, elite running back, elite receivers, elite defense. What more do you want, right? So just don't call a timeout. Don't be bad. Brandon Staley, number 2. He might be my number 1 worst coach in the entire NFL. Wrong. Never mind. Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is the worst coach in the NFL. Well, no. Maybe one other one. But Mike Vrabel, he's just horrible. He just stands there like a bump on a log. Just get a life, buddy. The dude wears a vest at 99-degree weather. Just go slip on urine in the streets of Nashville one time. You just bother me a lot. I just don't think you're any good at what you do. You've got a bunch of toys, and then you still allow Ryan Tannehill to parade around as your quarterback. And the fact you got a 1 seed last year, I'm done. So that's 3. Arthur Smith. Wow, you're bad. Arthur Smith, you were just the coach for the Falcons. Just really, really bad. You address the wide receiver position. That's cool. You've got an elite tight end. Your running back situation is just laughable. It's absolutely laughable. And then you just parade around in one of the easier conferences in the entire division and just constantly go 4-12. Get over yourself. Ooh, I don't like you. I do not like you at all. You're just not good at what you do, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Oh boy, now my blood's moving. Arguably the worst coach in the NFL, Pete Carroll. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. This stems back from the Marshawn Lynch thing. You let Russ. You gotta keep Russ, man. You let him go because you don't let him cook, and then the Nathaniel Hackett and the Broncos, they're gonna let him absolutely heave that rock. It's going to be ridiculous. And then Pete Carroll's going to be like, well, what did I do? Chewing his gum. You can't even walk and chew gum at the same time, my boy. So just kick rocks. Go find some glass to choke on. I don't know. He's horrible. But main thing, guys, that's about all I got. We're at 20 minutes. And we've got. It's time. It's Monday. It is Labor Day. And I get to watch Clemson barrel through Georgia State here in a little bit. Georgia Tech, wage. And we've got tomorrow and we got Wednesday, and NFL is back. We've got the Rams and the Bills. It's going to be absurd how good of a football game that is. It's and then you got Friday, Saturday, boom, Sunday. If you know what time it is, guys, it's football, baby. We are back again. This season holds no different. Either get finessed, or you better do the finessing, because if you don't, you're going to be dinner. I'm out, baby.